Hello students, welcome back. Now that the core gameplay mechanic of our game here is in place, our relay nodes, we're going to introduce a resource system. Actually, two resource systems. These are going to be things that the player has to manage and track as they play our game. They're going to try to increase these to earn points, and if they get too low, they could potentially die. And so these are going to come in the form of essentially, you can think of it as like score and health, but we're going to put a little network spin on them. So we'll call them network bandwidth and network integrity. Our bandwidth is going to be a system that we manage. When we fill our bandwidth up enough, we'll be able to send out a message and earn some points. And then our integrity, if it gets too low, then we'll end the game. Our network will be compromised. So let's head to the computer screen and let's dive right into this lesson on resource systems. So I have lesson 4, our resource system lesson here for bandwidth and integrity, open in vscode.dev. I'm going to minimize the web page right now though and open that file directly so I can see it in the browser. So we'll come over here to lesson number 4, lesson 4 starter, and let's see what we've got here. All right, so in the HUD, it looks like I'm tracking outbound messages sent. It's sent to 0 right now because I've sent no messages. And then it sort of looks like I've got a couple of things in the HUD, one for bandwidth, one for integrity. It sort of looks like integrity's got a health bar drawn here. Bandwidth does not. So let's spawn some relays. Okay, if I click on something, does anything happen? Okay, nothing's happening yet when we click on these. So none of this system is in place. All right, but we can see the outline. We can see the skeleton of what we have to work with. So let's head back over to our code now, and let's dive right into mission number 1. We got a new system, right? We've got this bandwidth and integrity system, these resource systems. So mission number 1 says we got to go look at the system constants. We're going to add the bandwidth and integrity system constants, and those are going to be found in our student edit zone. Remember, these are the knobs, the dials that we can finely tune to adjust how a brand new system is going to fit into our game. So we've got like, here is for our grid, and here's our player, and here were our relays, and now we're looking at our resource systems. So I have max bandwidth and max integrity. And right now, those are all set to 0. Well, that seems silly. We don't want 0. Let's just change that. I want, for maximum bandwidth in our game, I'll set it to 100, and our max integrity will set it to 100. I like starting off at 100. Gee, if I just change that, does anything change in the game? Nothing really. Okay, well that's all right. Well, that green little arrow is now gone, so that's sort of interesting. Somehow that changed it. But then let's see what else we have. We have bandwidth gain blue, integrity gain green. Okay, so when I click on a blue relay, I should gain some bandwidth. So the bandwidth here, which is going to be a thing that when that gets all the way full, we can send a message. So our messages sent should increase. How much do I want to gain every time I click on a blue relay? So if I click on a blue relay, boom, fill that. Boom, fill that bar. And if it gets filled high enough, I score some points. I send some messages. Let's give ourselves, I don't know, 18 bandwidth. All right, and then integrity gain green. So every time I click on a green relay, I'm going to gain some integrity. I'll set that to be, I'll do 16. And then our yellow relay, we said our yellow relay is going to be like a risk reward. It's going to boost one of these values, but take away from the other. So we're not sure if we're going to want to click the yellow one often, but when we do, it's going to, let's see, increase our bandwidth. So we'll say, let's up it by a lot, 34. See, we're only getting 18 from a blue. We'll get 34 from a yellow, but we're going to lose some of our integrity. That's our health. So we're going to lose, I don't know, I'll say 18 health. I'm just picking numbers. We'll fine tune these if we want to later on, and that's the beauty of these sort of gameplay constants. We can always come back and change them. So now let's scroll down and let's see what else we've got. In our color palette, all right, we've got a couple of colors in our color palette. The bandwidth bar background color, the integrity bar background color, and those are both the same. They are a transparent white, 255, 255, 255, all the red, all the green, all the blue, and then make it transparent, right? So it's going to be really, we can really see through it. And then we've got our bandwidth bar fill color and our integrity bar fill color. Okay, so we'll work with those when we draw our bars. And then let's go check our gameplay variables. For our gameplay variables, we are keeping track of 3 new variables: bandwidth, so how much bandwidth we have; integrity, how much integrity we have, and messages sent. So how many messages have we sent? We have currently sent 0. All right, so now that we have an overview of this resource system, let's head to mission number 2 and see what it has in store for us. So it looks like in mission number 2, we have to reset our resource system variables. This finds us in our reset game to defaults. So anytime we restart a game or start a game, we call that reset game to defaults function. And we are resetting our player. It looks like we're emptying out our relay array. So if there were a bunch of relays, they are now gone. See, our container is empty. And now we're also going to reset our resource system variables. So if you look here, like the messages sent variable, it's already set to 0. So that's really good. So if we had sent like, 6 messages in the last game, when I reset my game, the score is going to go back to 0. But then we also want to reset the bandwidth and integrity values. So bandwidth is something that we have to build. So our bandwidth variable is something that we have to build. So we're going to set it to 0. And then our integrity variable is like our health. And so we don't want to start with 0 health. That would be really bad. We're going to start with our maximum integrity. So we'll set our integrity variable to max integrity. So our health basically starts at 100. All right, so if we refresh the page now, hey, did you just see that? Look at our integrity bar. Our integrity bar got filled in because we set it to max integrity. Oh, that's kind of cool. What if I set it to like max integrity minus 30? Ooh, look at that. Our bar is dynamically changing. So that's sort of cool. Awesome. Hey, very cool. Let's put it back to max integrity though, because we're not mean. When we start a game, we're going to give the player maximum health, max integrity. All right, so now that the resource system's variables are reset anytime we start our game, let's head to mission 3. Mission 3 is going to ask us to draw the background bar for the bandwidth. Okay, so that makes sense because right now we have it for integrity, but I don't see it for bandwidth over here. So we want a similar bar for bandwidth. So we're going to draw the bandwidth background bar and create the base shape for our bandwidth display. So this puts us in a function called draw bandwidth bar, and I think that's getting called in draw HUD. So when we draw our HUD, we put our text up here, and then we draw our bandwidth bar, and we draw our integrity bar. So we've got those functions. Draw bandwidth bar is right here. Draw integrity bar is right here. So really, if we look at what we're doing in the integrity bar, it looks like we're drawing a bar with our background color filled, and then we're putting in our bar color as our paint, and we're drawing another bar. So we're going to kind of mimic that structure right here in mission 3 and mission 4. So the first thing we'll do is recognize that we've got a bunch of variables here: bar width, bar height, bar X, and bar Y. These are just positioning variables that I've created so that when we create our bar, it's exactly where we want it over here. So we're just going to reference those. Then we put some text color and paint in our paint bucket. We align our text and we say bandwidth. So now let's load up a new color in our paint bucket. So we'll say fill, and we'll do bandwidth bar BG color. So that's that first option right here, tab for autocomplete. The paint is now loaded in our paint bucket. So let's draw a rectangle. And the rectangle that we are going to draw needs the upper left-hand corner of the rectangle. So that's going to be bar X, that variable for positioning, and bar Y, that variable for positioning. And then I need a width and a height of my rectangle. Well, we've got bar width and bar height right here. Let's use those variables. So we'll say bar width and bar height. Tab for autocomplete. And so let's just run this. We should now see that transparent white background bar. Hey, we sort of got it. But it doesn't look the same. Its edges are just like too sharp right now. So what we need to do is we need to round those edges. We got to curve those edges. And we saw when you draw a rect, you can add an optional 5th piece of information to describe how much you want to curve the edges. So we're going to curve it to 6. So now if I refresh, all right, those look the same. But now what we want to do is we want to also have a fill bar that sits over it, right? So I think integrity is green. Bandwidth, we said we're going to use our blue relays, so we're going to use a blue color for that. So let's target mission number 4. Let's now put a new paint in our paint bucket to draw this next rectangle. So the new paint will be our bandwidth bar fill color. That's our second option here in this list. Tab for autocomplete. All right, a new paint has been loaded up, so let's draw a new rectangle. To start, let's just draw the rectangle at the exact same position that we did our previous rectangle. So bar X, bar Y, bar width, bar height, and a rounding of 6. So we'll keep those all the same. So what this is going to do is it's going to draw our background bar and then draw our fill bar directly over it. And that's what it's going to look like when our bandwidth is completely full. So let's refresh the page. Hey, look at that. We've got 2 bars now. So our bandwidth bar is going to get completely full. But there's only one problem. We don't want the bandwidth bar to always be completely full. In fact, it's going to start at 0, and we got to build it up and build it up. And once it gets to be full, that's when we have sent a message over here. So we somehow got to target this bar's width. Well, I don't know. What if I multiply it by 0.5? Multiplying it by 0.5 should take that width and cut it in half. And look at that. Our bandwidth bar is now half full. Okay, so that works. That works pretty good. But, you know, multiplying by 0.5 would be the same as multiplying by some fraction like 10 over 20, right? 10 divided by 20. So 10 divided by 20 is 0.5, so we should get the exact same results. Yep, and we do. Okay, so that works. Now, the way I like to think about it is this fraction, 10 over 20, this is the maximum amount I can have in this fraction. It is 20. But I can change this amount. So let's say it increases. Now, instead of being at 10, it's at 15. And our bandwidth bar changed. And I could change it to, let's say, 18 out of 20. I can increase it some more. And our bandwidth bar continues to increase. And then I can make it the full 20 out of 20, and it's a full bar. So what we have here is we have the maximum amount we can get in this system. Well, this is for our bandwidth, so I'm going to plug in our variable max bandwidth. What did we set it to? 100. That was a constant that we set for our resource system here. And then this variable is the variable that's going to change. So it might start at 0 and then get bigger to 5 and then 9 and then 12. And the variable that's going to be changing is our bandwidth variable. So that's the thing that we will be able to change. Remember, that is one of our gameplay variables. So now we have a way to dynamically change this. If bandwidth is at 10, and max bandwidth is 20, 10 out of 20 is going to give me 0.5. My bar width would be half full. All right, let's refresh the page. Right now, bandwidth should be set to 0, so our bar goes away. Perfect. I'm really happy with how that bar looks. I think we did a great job there in our HUD. So now what I think we need to do is we got to start sort of syncing up, clicking on some relays to change this system, to set some things into place. So let's go to lesson number 5. Lesson number 5 says, apply relay effects to bandwidth and integrity. All right, so let's go take a look. This puts us in a new function called apply relay click effect. And it takes in one piece of information, a relay type. So if you remember, I'm going to just scroll up a little bit. In our last video, we wrote this function called check player relay click. And if we clicked on a relay, right, that was the application of the Pythagorean theorem, we got rid of the relay. So when I clicked on a relay, boop, we spliced it out of the container. But now we are doing another thing here. We are calling this new function apply relay click effect. And we're passing in the relay that we clicked on, we're passing in its type. So red, blue, yellow, or orange. Now we have access to that inside of this function. And mission 5 says apply relay effects to bandwidth and integrity, update values based on the relay type interaction. So if the relay type that we passed in, we're asking a question, if that relay type is blue, so the blue is going to be stored in our relay type object that has those properties, blue, green, yellow, and orange. If it's blue, that means we clicked on a blue relay. So we want to increase our bandwidth. So anytime we click on a blue relay, our bandwidth bar should fill. And if it fills enough, we're going to send a message. We have the bandwidth to do that. So we're going to increase it. How much do we want to increase it by? Well, right now we're increasing it by 0, which is terrible, terrible gameplay. We can increase it by 5 or 3 or 900. But instead, we have a system constant here called bandwidth bar, bandwidth gain blue. There we go. Bandwidth gain blue. So the autocomplete there for us is the third one down. If you type B, bandwidth gain blue, tab for autocomplete. So now anytime I click on a blue relay, I should gain 18 bandwidth. And hopefully my bandwidth bar will begin to fill. Let's check it out. Let's run this. So I'll spam some relay nodes. I click one, boom. Click one. Oh, look at that. That's so rewarding. All right. It's so very, whoa, what's going on? We went beyond our range, so that's not good. We went all the way over here. We're above 100 bandwidth, so we'll have to fix that. But let's write our functionality for our green relay types. So if the relay type was not blue, we'll follow it up with another question. Else if. We'll ask a second question. Is the relay type equal to green? And if that's the case, we're going to now target our integrity because that's like our health. So we're going to add, not 0, I think we have a constant called integrity gain green. Perfect. So that's the third one down in our autocomplete list. So now when I click on a green relay, I should gain some integrity. Let's see. All right, so there's one. I gain it. Yeah, and that is not good. I just went beyond my maximum level of integrity. So yeah, we sort of got to fix that. But there's one more relay we should worry about, and that is our yellow relay. Remember, our yellow relay is our risk reward relay. It's going to massively boost our bandwidth at the cost of integrity. So here we're going to increase our bandwidth when we click on a yellow relay, and we'll use bandwidth gain. Ooh, there's two of them. This first one is the blue one. Our next one is the yellow one. So tab for autocomplete because we gain extra bandwidth, 34. But we're going to lose some integrity now. So this is our risk reward relay. So we're going to subtract now, minus equals to subtract integrity loss. So here it is in our relay, integrity loss yellow when we click on it. Perfect. All right, now you notice we're not doing anything with our orange relay in here. And because we shouldn't be clicking on our orange relay, we want to, or I'm sorry, if we click on our orange relay, we're not going to do anything. If we missed our orange relay, it's going to blow up and destroy a bunch of stuff for us. So that's how we're going to play this out. So clicking on the orange relay is going to do nothing. So we're just going to leave it just like that. All right, so this looks pretty good right now. So let's go test this system. I'll spawn some relays. Let's click on a yellow. I should see my integrity go down, my bandwidth jump up. All right, so that's really good. And now I should see my integrity fill back. Perfect. So this is great. But like we said, I can go beyond these values, which is not good. And I wonder, can I go beyond in the other way? Let's just check. If I keep clicking yellows, I need some more yellows. Give me more yellows. Oh yeah, look, I got negative integrity. Ooh, terrible, terrible, terrible. So let's go fix those issues. Let's go to mission number 6. Ooh, I don't even have to type it in. Mission 6 puts us right below here. It says we need to clamp bandwidth and integrity values within its limits. Keep both values between their maximum values and 0. So do you remember we had to sort of clamp our player's position? We said don't let the player leave the screen. And in order to do that, we constrained their position. Well, we are going to do something very similar with our bandwidth and integrity values. We will constrain them between 0 and their max value. So let's target bandwidth first. So we'll say bandwidth is equal to the constrain function. And we're going to pass in 3 pieces of information. The thing we want to constrain, bandwidth. We're going to pass in the lowest value, 0, and then the highest value, max bandwidth. All right, so now that's passed in. Let's now target integrity. So integrity is equal to constrain, and we'll pass in the variable integrity. That's what we want to constrain. And we're going to pass in our lower bound of 0 and our upper bound of max integrity. And that should solve that issue for us. Integrity. Yep, I spelled everything correctly. Let's refresh the page. Let's see. Can we go beyond our min and max values? So I'm just going to spawn a bunch here first. And I'm going to click on a bunch of yellows. Let's see if we can go below 0. Oh, I clicked on something and my game broke. That's not good. That means I have an error somewhere. So let's see. Band. Oh, I have bandwidth right here. I spelled that wrong. Bandwidth, no, bandwidth. So I got to make sure I spell it correctly, bandwidth. All right, so now with that, let's refresh the page and try it again. So spamming the S key, bunch of stuff. All right, okay, very good. Keep it going. Now let's click on some yellows. Yellow. I'm almost going to go into the negatives. On this next one, I probably would go in the negative, but I don't. I just stay at 0. Perfect. And if I click on blue, can I go above my bandwidth? I can't. So bandwidth is capped, and let's refill our integrity. All right, and integrity is capped too. So this is working perfect. Now, if you look right here, I have a full bandwidth bar. What that means in the scope of this game is that I should be able to send a message. A message should get sent. So messages sent should go up. We should score some points. So let's look at mission number 7, which is right below here. So now it says if, we ask a question, if bandwidth is greater than or equal to our max bandwidth, which is exactly what I have here. If it's greater than or equal to, we are going to send a message. So it says trigger a message sent when bandwidth is full, and then reset bandwidth and restore integrity. Ooh, okay, I like that sort of system. So we're going to take our message sent variable, which was set to 0, and we're going to increase it by 1. We just sent a message. But sending a message costs all of our bandwidth. So we're going to take the bandwidth variable, and set it back to 0. But because we did such a good job, we got a message out, we're going to take our integrity and refill it completely. So we're going to take our integrity and refill it to max integrity. All right, let's see how this operates. So I'll refresh the game. All right, I'm going to spam some relays here. I'm going to click here. All right, so my integrity is down. I'm going to get some more bandwidth. Oh, and that is a game-breaking bug. What did we do? We typed something wrong. Message sent. It's messages sent is our variable. Messages sent, not message sent. And that makes sense. We're keeping track of how many messages were sent. So we need that extra S there, messages sent. So how we define our variables is going to be super important. We got to make sure that we reference them the right way. If you spell your variables wrong, it's going to crash your program because we're outside of that student edit zone, which is the danger zone if we make a mistake. All right, let's try it again. So we're going to spam a bunch of things, spam some relays. Okay, spam some relays. All right, I got a yellow one, so my health goes away. I want to take some more health away. All right, so health goes down. Now I'm going to send another. I'm going to click bandwidth. This should give me a full bandwidth bar, and I get a message sent of 1. Bandwidth drops away, and integrity goes back up. So I can keep clicking. Perfect. 2 messages sent. All right, 3 messages sent. So this is working nicely. My health is refilling as I send those messages. Awesome. So now we sort of got like our score system in place here, but we got to get a game over condition. And so that's going to be mission number 8, our last mission here in this lesson on resource systems. Because if our integrity, which is serving as our health, gets too low, if the integrity is less than or equal to 0, this is our game over condition. That means we have died. Our network has collapsed. So how do we end the game? Well, remember, our game is keeping track of the state that it is currently in. We have a start state, a play state, and a lose state. And the variable that's tracking that is called current game mode. And we just need to assign a new value to the current game mode variable. And the way we do that is we go to our game mode object, dot, and we look. It has a lose property, a play property, and a start property. So for game over, we got to set it to the lose property. And with that, I believe our resource system lesson is complete. Let's go. Let's test the whole functionality of this game. So the first thing that we got to do, we got our nice bars right here. Let's spawn some relays. So hit the S key. Give yourself some relays to click. All right. So right now, I click a yellow one. We lose some integrity, but I'm going to fill up and send a message. Bandwidth goes to 0. Integrity fills back up. So now I'm going to lose enough. I don't even know. Can I lose enough integrity to end the game? Oh, I can't lose enough integrity to end the game. That's a bummer. So you know what I got to do to test this? I got to scroll up and change these values. So when we click right here, when we click a yellow relay, our integrity loss is set to 18. So I'm going to subtract 18. Let's subtract 18 plus 80. So if I do that now, I should be subtracting 98 health when we click on our integrity, or 98 integrity when I click on a yellow one. Okay, so there we go. It's super, super low, and if it drips to 0, boom, the network is compromised. Awesome. If I restart my game, everything should get wiped, our integrity should get refilled, our bandwidth should go back to 0, and that's exactly what happens. So now that I know that that system works, let's get rid of this plus 80 right here. All right. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful place to stop. You can hopefully see the gameplay starting to form. You know, we're going to have relays that help us, relays that hurt us, relays that maybe do both, help and hurt us, those yellow relays. And what we're going to have to figure out is how do we get the game itself to spawn the relays for us? Rather than us having to spam the S key, I want the game to put relays into the world at like a set interval. And hopefully, as we play our game, they're going to pop into the world faster and faster and faster and faster, which will make the game more chaotic and, of course, more fun. So we'll pick it up here in our next video. I'll see you then.